All
Hey,
right.
I'm Rob Magrino. I'm the founder of Aquablast Spit. I have been working on this little project of mine for probably like 6 years, trying to figure this thing out. And it all started basically
Mhm.
when I was back in Ohio. I was playing softball and ended up throwing out my shoulder uh, with this great play I was supposed to make at home plate from right field, and ball never even got that far. But yeah, so the result was that I ended up going through some physical therapy, and then I got into aquatics to actually help with my recovery. And so in my backyard pool back in Ohio, I started messing around with those plastic milk jugs. So I'd fill them up
Mhm.
with water and put the cap on, and they make great resistance weights because they're about 8 pounds, and you get a lot of resistance, with the drag and pull in the water. And then so one day I just started messing around with it, tinkering, and I drained some of the water out, put the cap back on, and I realized that the milk jug floated in the water. And then I started adding some weights to help counterbalance it. And I basically, at that point, I created a neutrally buoyant device for swimming pools for punching and kicking. And so Aquablast was born that day. Um, I of course, the milk jug wasn't going to work very well for me. So what
Right.
I ended up doing was making a prototype. I went to the hardware store, picked up all this material, glue, got all kinds of material together, and cobbled together a little prototype of this Aquablast, which at the time I called the ab bag. But
Okay.
yeah, and it turned out, and I actually called the bag the Big Red Tomato because it was a big red bag with a big red cap on it, and it weighed, it held about 12 gallons of water. It was huge. But basically, the concept behind it was, I just wanted to make something to help me just recover from my injury. And I ended up discovering a way to make an underwater punching bag, basically, from
Okay.
these materials.
Okay. Now, you said it was born that day. When is the release day of Born That Day?
Well, it just got released today.
Ta-da!
So
There we go.
June 28th, 2020, probably 6 years after the date in which I conceived of the idea, it just hit the market today.
Great.
And
Great.
it's a limited
So,
release of Aquablast. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's a
okay.
limited
So
release.
now
Yeah.
from through.
Go ahead, Frank.
No, I said from the idea to where it is today released. How many different parts and pieces and iterations did we go through to get there
Oh
to
my
perfect it so
goodness.
it can be released today?
Yeah. I mean, you go from a milk jug to a water bladder to a big red tomato to probably 30 to 40, maybe even 50 iterations to finally get it to where it is now. And it just kept changing, kept evolving into a newer and better thing each time I remade it. And so, yeah, probably like 40 different versions to get it to where it is today.
Okay, we're going to put up a sample of it on the air here, but to give people an idea that haven't seen it, what is it that makes it work?
Well, it's so there's three basic components to Aquablast, and it's a water fill.
Okay.
It's filled with water, so it's about the size of a 5-gallon jug, a 5-gallon bucket you get at Home Depot or wherever. But it's filled
Okay.
with water, and at the very top of it, there's a small donut-like air chamber at the top that keeps it floating on the surface of the water. And there's a small counterweight underneath it that keeps it stabilized and in a really nice position so you can punch and kick it.
Okay, so
And
now you've got it, and I've kind of played around with something. Well, you have the noodles and all those things,
yeah,
and I get used to that bit of resistance. but now you've got something that's vertical in the water. And so
Right.
you've got room to punch, to kick, to push, to pull. How many different exercises have you been able to come up with of how you can make this thing work? I can imagine a lot of different things.
There's probably 50 plus exercises you can do with it, because not only can you punch and kick it, but you can do so many different variations of punches and kicking. And it has handles on the top and the bottom, so you can do different lifting exercises. You can swing it
Okay.
back and forth, and it works off the principles of, you know, water resistance and the drag of water as well. So you're going to get, you know, every time you push it, you're getting resistance both ways, the water resistance and the drag behind it. And you pull it, you're going to get the same thing. So it's double workout almost every time you use it. Of course, your arms and your legs, as you punch and kick it, you're getting the water resistance against your arms and your legs
Right.
and your body as you use the bag. So I would say there's probably 50 plus exercises you can do with it. Plus, you can even stand on this bag. So you can actually take some
Oh,
of the
okay.
air out, submerge it, put it on the bottom of the pool, and then you can do things like step ups. And you can even
Okay.
it's kind of fun. You can kind of do it like a log roll across the pool with it. You can just stand on it and kind of walk across the pool. It's really good for balance exercises for people that actually have, you know, some balance issues, things like that. And I've had it in front of, you know, a number of physical therapists have used it now. And they say it's what they really like about it. And one of the comments I got was that it's unpredictable. So it doesn't go in just a straight line sometimes. So sometimes you have to chase after it a little bit. So it doesn't provide just a route type of method of use. You can vary the way you use the bag to your own individual preferences. And in fact, the way Aquablast is, it's like it's weightless underwater. So it's at equilibrium with the water around it. So it contains about 6 gallons of water, which is about 50 pounds. Now, if you filled up a 5-gallon bucket and tried to lift it, you'd know what 50 pounds feels like. It's
Right.
quite heavy. But in the water, it just floats around because it's at equilibrium with the water around it. But as you lift it out of the water, you start to feel gravity kick in. And so you can feel the weight of the water as you lift it up. Now, if somebody is, let's say, 90 years old, they're not going to be able to lift all 50 pounds up. They might be able to lift like 20 of it out of the water. So you can really vary how much you want to lift it out. And that's one of the nice things about it. It has a variable, type of resistance to it. You control it.
Okay. All right. And so once you get it moving, since it's in water now, and I'm picturing it in my head now. Once you get it moving, you've got to stop it from moving. So like you said, that's a push-pull thing, right? Okay. All right. And you could use it almost like a blocking dummy in football. You could go run into it, and then now you got to go chase it and bring it back.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
so there's
great.
a number of different ways you can actually, utilize it in that way. And, one of the things with the bag, and I'm still working on some more, this is the first version of this device.
Okay.
So there isn't, it hasn't been refined upon for, commercially yet. So I'm looking to make some new versions and make some new, small changes to the way the design is. Plus, I'm going to be making, at some point in the future, taller bags, much bigger bags, taller, smaller, rounder, different types of variations of bags. Maybe even make something like one of those Bulgarian bags, something like that. It's all water filled.
Okay.
So,
And
but the principles are all the same. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like maybe a smaller, like the kettle balls that people have, maybe something like that, a smaller version.
Things like
something
that.
like okay, yeah. So now that you have right, but now that you have the technology refined, there are all kinds of things you can do.
There really are. And as people start to use it, they're going to find new ways to use it. And that's what's the most exciting thing is, because I've just been using it myself, and I've done all of my own videos myself. I've created my website myself. Pretty much I do everything myself. But now when people start to use it, they're going to start coming up with new ways to use it both for, different types of, like combat types of exercises with punching and kicking, and then just low impact stuff.
Okay.
Just for somebody that wants to recover from, from training.
And at the moment, it's just available on the website, or is it available in stores yet? Or I know you said it launched today, so.
Yeah, just on my website, aquablastfit.com.
Okay.
And
We'll make sure we add that link to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll keep it short and sweet. I appreciate you being on it and giving us the first version and the first look. And we'll make sure we get this posted. People can see it.
That'd be great. Yeah. So you're the first, Frank, to
right.
actually. This is my first interview, so I'm really.
Well,
really...
I'm sorry to have to break it in this way for you.
No, it's not a problem. I really enjoyed this, and I'm only looking forward to more future versions of it and seeing what people think about it.